CNN has uncovered another disturbing angle to all of this. A police official says Mohammed Iqbal, the widowed husband, was himself jailed 6 years ago for murdering his first wife. His son turned him into police, but later forgave him, and a family compromise led to Iqbal's release. Iqbal told CNN, and we're quoting here, "I wanted to send a proposal to Farzana, so I killed my wife." It is a strange, sad affair. We're joined now from CNN New York by Imam Feisal Abdul Rauf. He's chairman of the Cordoba Initiative, a project to address conflict between Islamic and Western communities. Thanks so much for talking with us. I want to ask you, first of all, about your reaction to all of this.
Absolutely horrible, Jonathan. This is totally against the precepts of Islam. There's nothing Islamic at all about this. Islam protects life, promotes the protection of life. And no one under Islamic law can take the law into his own hands. So everything about this is nothing but cold-blooded murder and a violation of Islamic law.
Now, you've been very clear, but I have to ask you about this. People might wonder why we're interviewing an American imam to talk about a murder in Pakistan, which you say has nothing to do with Islam. But there are people who say that, in fact, that Sharia does allow for honor killings, and people who claim to know Islam, and I'm not among them, they quote Quranic verses in support of that contention. The other thing I would add, obviously, is that it's not well documented in Christian communities, in Jewish communities, in Baha'i communities, in Buddhist communities. It is widely documented around the world in Muslim communities.
Well, two things. I mean, crimes of passion have existed in other faith traditions. It's no longer practiced today. These are crimes of passion, and they have nothing to do with religion, even when they were practiced by Christians and by members of other faith communities. Unfortunately, we still have this today in various parts of the Muslim world, and it is unfortunate. One of the big battles that I and my organization are fighting against, and many people in the Muslim world are fighting against, is this misinterpretation of Islam. There's a lot of passionate desire to be Muslim, but there's a lot of passionate misunderstanding of Islam and its principles, which have resulted in this kind of misinterpretation. But there is nothing at all in the Quran or in the teachings of the Prophet that make this idea of honor, which is really an important concept in Islamic law, but a capital crime.
Now, forgive me for interrupting you, because you've touched on an important point, but once again, I want to drill down a little bit. The Grand Mufti in Lebanon, the Shia Grand Mufti, has spoken out years ago, but he spoke out against this. In Egypt, the most senior cleric there, years ago, also was on the record speaking out of this. But let me ask you, if in the mosques that you frequent, in mosques around the world, if imams are actively preaching against this, because people are actively committing these crimes. This is happening around the world.
It is true. I mean, it's happening in the world, but I don't deny it that it's happening. And this is part of the work that we in the Muslim world need to do. We need to educate and inform our people that Islam is an important religion to us. It drives our ethics. But this practice and many practices such as so-called honor killing, such as FGM, which is an African practice, have nothing to do with Islam, in spite of the fact there are people who put it forward as an Islamically mandated practice. Nothing is further from the truth, Jonathan.
And yet, I want to put this question to you very, very carefully, because Islam is a religion followed by millions of faithful, law-abiding, God-fearing people, but extremists around the world, the Taliban in Pakistan, Afghanistan, trying to keep girls from going to school. In Sudan, the case of a pregnant woman who has been sentenced to death for changing her religion. And now the honor killings that are going on everywhere. Islam among non-Muslims has a reputation as being unspeakably oppressive towards women.
I recognize that, and this is something, as I say, we are battling it. The current Secretary General of the OIC is doing all he can to battle it and to promote the rights of women. This is something which we in the Muslim world are battling for. On the issue of apostasy, there's nothing in the Quran that makes apostasy a capital crime. Nothing even in the teachings of the Prophet which make a free apostasy outside of a time of war, which was actually treason rather than apostasy.
And yet Muslim countries around this world have this written into their criminal code, thinking that they are following faithfully the teachings of the Prophet.
It is a fundamental mistake. It is an error. It is absolutely wrong. The Quran is explicit. It says, you know, God says in the Quran, for us, which is God speaking, had God willed, he would have made all of you believers. Therefore, freedom of choice and the fact that we choose Islam of our free will, not being coerced into it, and therefore freedom to move out of any religion is a fundamental Islamically mandated right. And this idea of apostasy as being a crime, let alone a capital crime, is a massive violation of Islamic ethics and principles.